Boston. This is Boston. Oh,
City, yes.
holy smoke. What are we going to talk about? This is one tough-looking audience. They're not easily satisfied.
He's in very rare form, guys. He's on his little scooter going like this, taking the long way, and all of a sudden he gets on two wheels, and I'm like, oh my God, he's going to go down in Boston.
You're going to ride a scooter, you might as well have some fun with it. You're going to do a panel, you might as well have some fun with it. Anybody who expects to be serious can just leave now. What are we doing?
We're having some fun in Boston. We're going to have some fun in Boston.
Nobody has fun in Boston. Boston is a very serious city.
No!
We're allowed to have fun here.
All day, all night.
Well, then let's go out and find a place where we can have some fun.
Maybe we can get somebody to take you out to dinner.
All right, we'll see what happens. Now, how do you begin these things?
How do you want it to begin?
Nicely.
We'll start with some questions and we'll go. It just we'll have some.
Is this going to be another answering questions thing? Anybody can do the questions.
No.
Let's do something different. No questions. Only answers. That's what it is. We'll give you the answer, and you try to guess what the question was. Is that a good idea? Now we'll do it this way. I don't know.
Yeah, we'll take some questions. Hey, so what was that? I was just talking to you about when he did a couple of cameos. He did.
These people are waiting and you're not saying anything.
I'm trying to add it up.
Their time is money.
They want to know about your cameos.
Oh, I see. Okay. I didn't know we were talking cameos.
Yeah, we just did 4 cameos.
Favorite subject.
We did 4, and we're doing a 5th one on Thursday, which is awesome. Tell me.
You're all awesome.
No. Listen, we did Thor, the new one that's coming out in November. That's the best one of all of them. I'm telling you now, you guys are gonna love it. If you thought Guardians was good, don't get me wrong, it was good. But the Thor one is like, it's gonna nail it. You guys, the director told him, Stan, have it your way. And Stan did it his way. Everybody loved it. It was like a one take.
I showed him who's the boss in Asgard, boy.
We did that, and then we did both Infinity Wars. We did that. That was pretty cool. And then,
boy, if I had your memory, I could really be a success. This guy remembers everything. I can't even remember who he is.
Because I recorded all. But yeah, we did that, and we did Ant-Man. That was a cool one too. And then Thursday we got another one we got to do. He doesn't know about it yet, but I'll eventually tell him.
You could step on an anthill, and suddenly Marvel would lose one of its greatest characters. I want you to be careful where you walk when you walk around outside, you know, really. Ant-Man he's not the biggest guy in the world. He's vulnerable. Like me, I'm sitting here vulnerable. I don't know what's going to happen next.
We got your back, Stan! What? He says he got your back. He's got your back.
You got my back?
Yeah!
I can use it, thank you.
We're going to start some questions. Go ahead, buddy.
Hi, Stan. First of all, I want to thank you very much for joining us at this intimate gathering today.
You're very welcome. I was taught to be polite.
Coincidentally, actually, my question concerns the cameos. When I used to watch Alfred Hitchcock films, I used to look forward to his cameos, and now I look forward to yours in the Marvel films. I'm wondering how much input you have into those appearances. Is it a case of somebody just writes in the script and you say, okay, or do you have any kind of input, and what's the general experience for you doing the cameos?
You mean his input on his cameo or in the movie?
Yeah, his cameo.
Excuse me, the question was asked of me. What did you say?
Doesn't matter.
I how much input I have in the cameo. Where is the person? Where am I facing? I'm facing that way. See, when I sit up here, the sound comes from some speakers, but I don't know where the person is. And I don't want you to feel I'm impolite. If you're over there and I'm talking over here, it might get you angry, and I never want to get a fan angry, because I might lose one comic book sale because of that. Anyway, what were we talking about?
How much influence do you have?
I have absolutely no influence or input at all. They tell me they have a cameo for me. I come to the appointed place. They tell me, I'm like a robot. They put me somewhere, they tell me what to do, what to say, and when I'm finished, they get rid of me so that I won't bother the rest of the cast. That's about it.
All right.
Except for Thor.
Thor's the one that he did on his own.
We did a new Thor cameo, and I felt I could do a better job. So I did a better job. As he will testify. Where do you see it?
Thank you, Sam. Thank you.
Let's get back to Alfred Hitchcock and his cameos. I forgot I have competition.
Oh, no, you don't.
Why don't I?
Because you went past it.
I know.
Alfred Hitchcock only just made appearances in the background. He had no interaction.
That's right, that's right. Alfred Hitchcock just was in the backgrounds. If it was a street scene and people were walking by, one of the people would be Alfred Hitchcock. If it was a restaurant, they needed people to sit at tables. One of the people at one of the tables would be Alfred Hitchcock. But he didn't come out with those beautiful examples of acting ability and talent that I profess and show all the time. And I do it all for you. I make that supreme sacrifice for you, the fans. He says that's why the Marvel movies make so much money. Oh, I'll tell you another thing. A lot of people don't know this, so I'm going to let you in on something just between us, among us. See, when it's more than two people, you have to say among us. If it's two people, you can say just between us. I want you to know that these panels are also instructional for you and will make you better speakers and better human beings. Now, what was I about to say? Oh yeah, why Marvel makes so much money on the movies. It's because of my cameos, and here's why. You're in the theater and you're watching the movie, and you reach down to get some popcorn, so you turn your eye away from the screen for a few seconds. In those few seconds, you might miss my cameo. Well, you sit till the end, and you say, geez, I missed Stan's cameo. So you do the logical thing. You go to the box office, you buy another ticket, and you come back because you don't want to miss my cameo. Well, all of those extra tickets are responsible for Marvel's making so much money, and they're all because of me. So why don't they give me millions of dollars? I just thought of that. They don't pay me for that. Hey, you know what I get paid for these cameos? I get these great checks at home. $12.13. I get a check for $8.62. I save those checks. I frame them. One day we'll have an exhibit of cameo checks.
There are other checks, but there's one that I love the most. He's had it for like 20 years. He got it from a studio. The one in the office for 1 penny.
1 penny.
Yeah.
I decided I will never cash that check, and that'll screw up their bookkeeping system. So I think they probably went out of business on account of that.
It's funny because I told him, Stan, you know, the stamp was worth more than the check. And he's like, no, it wasn't. I go, Stan, they spent 25 cents on that stamp for that 1 penny check, not including what they had to pay the people to make the check.
I can't even remember who it was from. Do you remember?
I'm not going to embarrass them.
Okay. No, I want to go home. Have we been here long enough? All right, you're keeping me from dinner, but you don't care.
Hi, Stan. Huge fan, and just wondering, but what was your favorite movie based on one of your characters?
I really can't answer that because I am the worst person in the world when it comes to favorites. People always say to me, who's your favorite superhero, your favorite superheroine, your favorite woman? I don't know. I love them all. I love all the movies that have been done based on the Marvel characters. I can't think of one I didn't like. I think maybe the Iron Man movie, which introduced, what's his name? Bobo. Robert.
That's what he calls him.
Yeah, I said to him once, everybody calls you Robert. He said, well, you can call me Bob, you can call me Bobo, you can call me Bob. So I call him Bobo now, but he doesn't answer. What were we talking about? I'm no good at panels because I have no memory at all. I don't even remember who he is. I hope I'll get a clue as we move along. Oh, my favorite movie. Yeah, and I love them all. I really loved them all. I loved the fact that Iron Man introduced Bobo, because nobody could play that role as well as him. But other than that, it was just another magnificent Marvel movie. Oh, that's a good slogan, magnificent Marvel movies. I haven't used that yet, I'll get to that. I love slogans. Now let me give a little story about slogans. We used to be called Timely Comics. That was the name of our company before we became Marvel. And when our superhero books began to sell so well, I decided I want to change the name of the company, get a name that I could use to promote and to advertise. And I thought and I thought of the word Marvel, because I love advertising. And with a name like Marvel, you can make up sayings like, make mine Marvel, welcome to the Marvel age of comics. You know, and all that corny stuff I used to do. So after that, National Comics, which published Superman and Batman, they decided to change their name. If I changed to Marvel, they would get a good name. So I want you to get this. We had Marvel, and what do they come up with? DC. How do you get any slogans with DC? Welcome to the DC world of comics. You know what I mean? But I shouldn't say things about DC because they mean well. They tried hard. I guess they're nice enough people. They did come out with Wonder Woman, and I'm not happy about that. Yeah. But good for them. See, I'm really a nice... Now they're all saying, see, Stan is really a nice guy. He said good for them. I'll do anything to make them like me. I'll prostitute myself. I'll say things that I don't mean. Good for them. Yeah, they're great.
He's in rare form, guys. I'm telling you right now. Let's go.
Hey there. You may not remember... Hey there. You may not remember me, but I give myself the name Mr. Drake, and I saw you last year in Rhode Island. I once gave you a book, and you probably don't remember. And that is actually something that I want to ask for my question, because I know that you do more than just comics. Like, recently, you shifted a little to Japanese animation as well. I remember that you made one, I wouldn't say one of my favorites, but definitely an anime that I liked, Hiroman. And I wanted to ask you, what got you what got your attention into making not only standard Western American comic books, but also Japanese animation as well?
Greed. They paid for it. You know, I love animation. I love Japanese artwork. I love their type of storytelling. And when I had a chance to do something there, why not? And that wasn't a very entertaining answer. I apologize. That was just a simple, declarative answer. And the people backstage will be proud. They'll be saying, you see, Stan can say something serious, so maybe they'll invite me again sometime, you know.
Well,
Never know.
Well, my actual question is, what do you think led you to making some of the animes like Hiroman? Like, it was more than just a thought. It's gotta be some influence that you have to, that you probably...
I like the idea. If you have an idea that you like, and there are people willing to draw it and work on it with you, and you're lucky enough to be in a position to get it done, you do it. I like the name Hero Man. I thought it would be good in Japan. It's a good Japanese type of name. And we did it, and I can't, there's no real, there's no underlying reason that I'm keeping a secret from you. The opportunity arose, and I accept opportunity. Whenever there's an opportunity, I'm hoping the opportunity will come when somebody will say that he's wanted on the telephone, so I could sit here alone with you people, but that probably won't happen.
I can go.
No, you better stay. You let me know what they're all saying. I don't hear that well. I hear the sounds. It's hard for me to tell what the voices are. So he's really my translator. I know you were wondering, what are you doing up there with him for? Who needs him? But he translates.
So let's go to the next question.
Sure.
Why do you always point over there? There's a whole side of the place here. I've never seen you point that way yet. What do you got against this side? And there are people in the back. I never see you go like that. Oh, the microphone. So you're just pointing to the microphone. Well, I don't understand that. If you point to the microphone, how do you know who's going to be behind the microphone?
I can see it.
Oh, there are people standing behind them. See, I got great eyesight, too. There are people standing behind a microphone. Oh, and they're lined up to ask questions? How many are there?
100.
I'm going home. All right, do your thing.
Stan, thank you again for coming to New England, and I hope it's not your last time, but we really love having you here. Having said that, I don't want to ask a question. I just want to make a comment. I don't know how many people, you must read Marvel, obviously, but when I was 9 years old, that was just about the time that Captain Stacy died. And you mentioned...
Hold it. Who died?
Captain Stacy.
Oh, yeah.
And you mentioned on the program Comic Book Men, what was your most touching scene that you can remember? And if people haven't heard it here, they need to get the comic, Captain Stacy's Death. I don't know the number, you probably do. But was that scene when he bent over, Spider-Man was bending over Captain Stacy. This is his favorite scene. And he looks at him and he says, Peter, take care of my daughter. And if that doesn't bring a tear to somebody, I don't know if a comic can, but it did for me. Thank you.
You're welcome, and thank you for reminding me. And of course, the reason he said that, Peter realized, I'm crying, Peter realized that he knew that he was Spider-Man. And that's why he said it. And he had always known Peter was Spider-Man, but he didn't want to make any trouble. Yeah, that was a very dramatic thing. The only thing that bothered me, it looked like we were trying to kill off the Stacy family. And we had nothing against the Stacy family. It was just wasn't it Jerry Conway who killed Gwen Yeah, I was in Europe, and I left the book to this writer, Jerry Conway, for an issue or two. I came back and I found out he had killed Gwen, and I had killed Captain Stacy, and it was like we had a vendetta against the Stacy family. So if your name is Stacy, I apologize. There was nothing personal.
Go, let's go.
Hi, sorry. This may sound like a stupid question. So I'm currently enrolled at a summer program at Mass Art, and I'm thinking of going into illustration. Is there any advice you could give me as an aspiring artist, or any aspiring artist in the world?
Draw good. No, I don't know. I'm lousy at giving advice for things like that. If you want to be an artist, let's say a comic book artist, you know the competition. You look at the books, even the DC books, and you see how beautifully they're drawn. Those artists are all wonderful. Well, you've just got to find a way to make it that you can draw as well as they draw, or if you're really lucky, better than they draw, so that the editor will hire you quickly because he wants your type of artwork. Being an artist, in a way, is easier than a writer. It's tough to tell somebody how to become a writer, but with an artist, it's easy. You draw your picture and you look at it. And you've got to have a good eye for artwork if you're going to be an artist. If you have a good eye, you look at your drawing and you say, this is not as good as what's in the magazines now. So I'll keep working on it until I can make my artwork as good. Or you say, wow, this is just as good or better. So you grab your artwork and you run to the office of Marvel and you plop it down on the desk and you say, hire me or I'll go to DC. Best I can do.
Which one of your characters do you think influenced your personal life the most?
Influenced me in my personal life? No, none of them. I influenced them in their lives. I was writing them. No, the things that I wrote never influenced me personally. Things that I read when I was young influenced me. It's things that other people wrote that influenced me. I'm not conceited enough to be influenced by what I write.
The way you wrote, you told me before, is that you don't write for them, you write for yourself.
Oh, sure.
Can you explain that?
A lot of people will show me a story that they did and say, I'd like to know what you think of it. They don't do it now because I don't see that well to read these stories, but they used to do it. I'm saying that so that nobody sends me a lot of stories. And they say, what do you think of this? I wrote this for people who are in their 30s, who live in big cities. I think they'd enjoy it. And I always tell them, I don't write stories for other people. I write stories for myself. I think you can only write stories that you yourself would want to read. You can't know what other people want, but you know yourself. And I always figured, I'm not that unusual. There must be millions of people like me. So if I write a story that interests me, or that I say, wow, this is good, I like it, I'm hoping that other people will have the same taste as I have, and they will like it too. But I can't write a story for somebody else, because I don't know that other person. I just know me. So to make a long story short, I write things that I would like, and I figure there are enough people in the world who have the same taste that I do. So if I like the story, they'll like it. Yeah, that's one of the best explanations. Wasn't that a great explanation? I hope you wrote it down. We'll publish it and sell it. All right.
That was amazing.
Thank you. The Amazing Spider-Man. Oh, I love adjectives. You notice the Amazing Spider-Man, the Incredible Hulk, the whatever the Invincible Iron Man. I stopped writing heroes when I ran out of adjectives.
Well, I'm a big fan, obviously. I really enjoy your work, but you as a person, like, I really think you're like a legend. Like, one of the people who doesn't really come around it anymore. I'm sorry if I'm having a hard time conveying that, but well, one of the iconic moments of you is, I think, when you helped, you sort of indirectly brought down the comics code, and then when you created remember the issue of Amazing Spider-Man? What was where there was like an anti-drug? But my question is, when you got the message from the comics code that they did not like that comic book because it had drugs in it, despite the fact that it was an anti-drug PSA, what was your reaction?
Well, what happened was I had written a Spider-Man story in which one of Spider-Man's friends had taken, Peter Parker's friends, had taken some drugs and thought he could fly, and I think Peter saved his life. He pulled him away from the roof, something like that. It was an anti-drug story. But I got a letter from the I got a call from the Comic Code Authority. You can't use that story because we're not allowed to write about drugs. I said, you people are crazy. This is an anti-drug story. It may influence some young people not to try drugs. No, you can't use the story. So I figured I am not going to be bossed around by idiots. So I told my publisher I wanted him to take us away from the Comics Code, take the Comics Code seal off our papers, off our covers, and we'll just do our own stories, which we did. And eventually the other publishers got wise and we got rid of them, because they were really run by people who... Oh, I'll give you an example. This is almost unbelievable. But one day, when we were still in the comic book code, one day I did a Western story. I had a character called Kid Colt, Outlaw. And in that story, there was one panel where Kid Colt shoots his gun. And it's just a close-up of a hand holding a gun, the finger on the trigger, and he's just shot the gun, so there's a puff of smoke coming out of the gun barrel and a line indicating the trajectory of the bullet. Now that's the drawing. A hand holding a gun, a puff of smoke, and a line indicating the trajectory of the bullet. The Comic Code Authority sent that page back. It was unacceptable. So I said, hey guys, why is it unacceptable? And I couldn't wait to hear their answer, but they even surprised me. They found it, and I swear this is true, they found the drawing unacceptable because the puff of smoke was too big. So that made it too violent. So being an incredibly clever person, I whited out the puff of smoke and I drew it in a little bit smaller. And I sent the drawing back to the code office and they okayed it. So that was the kind of wisdom we were dealing with. And it made me realize we're not going to operate under any censors in any way. End of story. The puff of smoke was too big. Do we go home now? How do you know when we go home? We're here on a time thing? How much time we got?
A little bit.
I didn't know these are timed. When I walk in here, I have to be here for a certain amount of time. It's like a prison sentence. All right, go ahead.
Hi Stan, I am a huge fan.
That's the way it should be.
And
take his word for it.
So looking back on your comic career, you've obviously had a very long and successful one, but is there anything you would have changed or done differently?
Good question. I don't think I ever thought of that. No, I really think everything that I did was what I wanted to do at the time. And no, I don't think I'd have changed it, no. Maybe I'd have gotten a new guy to sit at the platform with me up here, but that's not what you're referring to.